Hey, and welcome back to another Fan Expo 2014 video. This time I'm talking about my favorite part of Fan Expo, and that is Rue Morgue's Festival of Fear. Now, I did start going to Fan Expo before the horror section, the Festival of Fear, ever started. I think the first year I went was a year that Kane Hodder was supposed to be there. He canceled, as he often does for conventions, but that was the first year I went because, you know, he was going to be there, and I was like, awesome, that's great. And so, you know, it was for horror that I essentially started going to Fan Expo. I don't think it was called Fan Expo then, actually, but eventually, you know, horror actually ended up with its own section, a full-on section, and more and more horror guests, more and more horror panels, more and more horror vendors, companies, distributors, film companies, all sorts of things. It all depends on, you know, who had the big movies, who had the little movies, who had stuff that they wanted to sell and pitch and, you know, promote. That, you know, that's who would end up at the convention. And yeah, it is probably my main reason for going most years. Yeah, you never know what you're gonna find there sometimes. So I figured I'd shoot a little bit of video and show you exactly what the Rue Morgue Festival of Fear entails. So let's take a look. This is DevilsLatex.com's booth. They're essentially, they make masks and busts and all sorts of stuff. Oh, it's Jason. Oh my gosh, he's an ugly fella. But yeah, great detail. Very, very talented. Their big thing, I think they've had these Jason masks. That's one of the things that they used to, I think they had a whole, often they do a giveaway at the end where they would give away one of those masks. But yeah, it's Annabelle there. But really, really talented. Amazing stuff. Of course, they're pricey, but, you know, quality often is. I think there's a Krang over there for $250. Just to the left of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. So, yeah. This is a vendor that deals in dead things. As you can see here, there's some skulls. Some are sort of like a steampunk skull. It's called the Skull Store. And they deal in all sorts of dead accoutrements. Here are some little skulls and mice, or rat, or who the heck knows. You can visit them there, skullstore.ca. But yeah, it's. I mean, some of them are a little expensive. Other ones are reasonably priced. Yeah, it all depends on what you're looking for. You could probably do this yourself. But who really wants to, if you wanted a skull of some sort to put on your, you know, as decoration. Oh, here's some taxidermy for you. But, yeah, you know, like that, I don't think I'd want to do myself. That looks like a lot of work, even though it's just a hamster. But, yeah, $40 for wet specimens. Yeah, that's something you can do. They're just regular jars, nothing really special here. But if you, say, wanted a frog on your shelf, you could get a frog. Or a lamb skull. $40, honestly, to me, that is well worth it, not having to deal with, well, the smell and a lamb skull. This is just essentially just a little gimmick that they have. It's a animated prop for their haunted house, which is screampark.ca. It's out east of the city. I've never actually gone, but it's on my list. Baby Rots a Lot. Gotta love this. This lady takes baby dolls and, yeah, zombifies them like no tomorrow, and I love them. I mean, they're very, very simple. You know, a little bit of dye, paint out the eyes, you know, throw in a little skull patch there. And it's awesome. Zomcom.ca if you're at all interested. Very, very, very cool. And then, I mean, if you want creepy, check that out. Check that out. Instead of open eyes, let's give them some closed eyes. Now, you've seen this video. This is the same actual lady. I think I had this in another video. They were also selling these little Lamentation Hellraiser puzzle box. Now this here is kind of cool. It's a little mini diorama with a bunch of model houses. The thing was, they were holding a contest. If you could name all the 5 different houses, you could, you know, win something. So here they are, guys. You can see the houses. I'm going by each one of them. If you can name them, put the comments down below. You're not going to win anything, but it would be interesting to see if people knew what the houses were from. The Julian year. I honestly don't remember what this was. I don't know if it was a book or a movie that was being made. It looks like some kind of supernatural zombie type thing going on, glowing eyes. But I think if you took your picture in front of it and you tweeted it, you might have won something. Of course, there's, you know, The Walking Dead's ever popular, so they had a nice big billboard there so you could take your photos with, you know, your favorite Walking Dead star. And can't be horror without Anchor Bay, so they obviously have a booth. And right across from them is the horror festival putter honors, the Rue Morgue booth. It wasn't really elaborate this year. Every year previously was a lot more elaborate than this. This was essentially just a vendor's table in comparison to what they've done in the past. But yeah, if you want to get your Rue Morgue past issues, this is where to do it. I gotta get that Fly issue. That is an awesome cover. I really want that. Honestly, I would love to grab all of these because, yeah, I used to collect them regularly, but not so much anymore. I think it's been a while since I actually got a Rue Morgue issue. Why Horror, the documentary. They were on one of the sides of the Rue Morgue booth. I think Rue Morgue helped promote it. Maybe it could be producers, who knows. And Revenant Effects. If I ever get a house, that's right, zombie gnomes. They're going out on my lawn. That's what I'm talking about. Who wouldn't want a zombie gnome? Here is I think this is just a costume Halloween prop store type thing. And I started shooting video, and then I saw to my left that somebody special walked into the store. And I just had to follow. It's not every day you get to see Freddy Krueger shopping. Yes, Ghoulish Gary Pullen, the great illustrator, always there. There's some of the pieces he's done, posters and such. And there he is, the man himself. Very talented, very talented. And this is the Annabelle booth. I've shown some footage of this previously. Essentially, you know, Annabelle was coming to theaters very, very, very soon. Soon after the convention, not soon now. It's already out on Blu-ray, I believe. But yeah, so it was a very, very large booth. So they were definitely spending some marketing dollars here. And it was a pretty simple booth. The design of it wasn't anything special, but I mean, the space it took up obviously costed some money. Now these are either screen used props or replicas. I mean, look at how realistic that. Oh, spooky. But yeah, if you didn't know, in the area, Resident Evil and those a lot of those movies and stuff were actually shot in Toronto, so it's not unheard of to have a prop shop in the city have a bunch of the stuff from the film. So yeah, a bunch of gruesome stuff here for sure. Really, really good and really, really cool. Now this is a poster for the movie Skull World, which is a documentary actually about Skullman. And then this is the poster for Motivational Growth. And I wouldn't call either of them particularly horror, but there are some horror influences in them. But this here is Solo, the Canadian horror film about, I think it's Canadian. I'm pretty sure it's Canadian. But it's all part of the booth for a Canadian film distribution company who also did this. This is I really like this poster here. Well, there's the title. But the company that this booth is for is Unstable Ground / Indie Can. They've got some pretty decent titles that they've put out, and then some other ones that, well, not so decent. Full Moon, yes, Full Moon was there this year. No Charles Band, but he did send up some people with some merchandise to sell. They're obviously promoting PMS Cop, one of their newest DVD releases, part of their Wizard releasing label. A big thing they were also pushing was the Delirium magazine that you can see in the back there. But yeah, always love to hit up the Full Moon table and purchase some goodies. Of course, Toronto After Dark Film Festival is there, showcasing 4 movies. That's Predestination, that's Dead Snow 2, and Wolves, and Open Windows, all of which have been released already. This is Troma's booth. Again, gotta love the Troma booth. I try and pick up a few titles from them every time they're there to make it worthwhile for them to show, come back. Unfortunately, Lloyd Kaufman could not be there this year because I believe it was Dragon Con was the same weekend, and he had a panel at Dragon Con, so he decided, I'll go to the one where I have the panel instead. I can't blame him. And finally, Cakes Cove. And the wedding cake I love. These guys have been there for a few years now, and they always have this cake, which is just like, I don't know that I'd ever find a woman who would be willing to have that wedding cake, but awesome. I love it. Absolutely love it. And they also have other, candies and cookies and treats and such like that. So it's definitely a cool company, and yeah, you get a lot of, I think that whole cake decorating thing is really blown up. It's not just your regular everyday, 3-tiered cakes anymore. You got, people do a little bit, it's theming, right? They like to theme their cakes these days. So yeah, there's a lot of companies out there who, yeah, they have the talent. They put together things that are just like that. So yeah, pretty cool. Gotta say, every year that cake, I just love it. I love it. I don't know that, the problem with that cake is I don't know that I'd ever be able to cut it. I would want to frame it in some kind of case and keep it forever, because it's awesome. But yeah, so I mean, and I didn't even get into, you know, like the panels or any of they show movies at the convention. Often films that have not yet been released to DVD or Blu-ray yet, but haven't. Well, they're not going to theaters, so often this is the only place you're going to be able to see these with a crowd. But they're usually just in a small little room, screening room. I don't remember. Oh, the guys from one of the guys from IndieCan, in conjunction with Fango, does a short film series in the city every once a month, twice. I don't know, every other month, where it's all horror shorts, and he had a couple of panels there where he was showing a bunch of the shorts from previous years that he had. And I went and checked out a little bit of that, you know, because with short films, it's really easy to sort of, like, if you have a half an hour or a couple of hours to kill, to just sort of pop in there and watch whatever's going on. So I was lucky enough. I think there was 2 instances where he was showing the short films, and I had a break in between things, so I was able to pop in and check those out. But yeah, and then there's you know, the guests, which maybe I'll cover in another video, you know, maybe the next video. Yeah, so there are definitely horror guests and guests from all sorts of, you know, all sorts of genre stuff. But yeah, every year they have horror guests. Some of the past guests, Clive Barker was one. Well, it was a very big guest for me. They had David Cronenberg, and they've had George Romero and Wes Craven, you know, like big names and such like that. And then they have, you know, the not as big names, Doug Bradley's and such like that. It's yeah, it's definitely a place to go if you want to get your autographs. So yeah. Anyways, that is the Rue Morgue Festival of Fear, at least a portion of it. It wasn't the entire thing. There was probably a good another 20 or so booths that I did not film, including some, you know, other film companies and DVD distributors and such. But yeah, I just thought I'd give you a little snippet of what that entailed, because it is my favorite part of the convention. So let me know what you guys thought. Post a comment down below, and I'll check you out in the next video, when maybe it'll be some more Fan Expo 2014. Till that time, take care.